welcome to RCC's Math 20 final review. Now, this video is designed to go through all of the types of problems that we've gone over in this term so that you can get re-familiar with them. I'm going to show you the problems. I'm going to ask you to pause, copy them down, work the problems. I'm going to show you the answers, and then I'm going to work each problem for you, and that way you can fast forward through the ones that you get right. So this video only has to take as long as you need it to. Okay? So, getting started, we're going to start with Chapter 1, and this is, I'm not reviewing addition and subtraction. I am starting with long division and long multiplication, problem solving, and solving equations, and order of operations. So here are the Chapter 1 problems we're about to do. Please copy them down and pause and work them out, and I'll see you in a minute. So to review answers, 27 divided into 36,279 is 1343, remainder 18. 56 times 15 is 840. X equals 46. M equals negative 12, and our big answer here is 216. Next, we're going to go through how all of these happened. Okay, now to solve them. We start with a double-digit long division problem. Our 27, I don't know my 27 times table, so we're going to round this off to 30, just for division purposes, just to guess what number goes up here. How many times does 30 go into 26? Well, I could have guessed how many times 20 goes into 36. It only goes in once. Now, these go into 36, which means our answer has to go directly above this number. 1 times 27 is 27. I subtract. I get 9. I bring down my 2. I don't know how many times 27 goes into 92, but 30 goes into 92 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, 7, 8, and I subtract, and I get 11. This is smaller than this, so I know I'm okay. I'm going to bring down my 7 next. 30 goes into 117. Well, if it went in 4 times, it would be 120. So it only goes in 3 times. Well, 3 times 27 is 81. I already know that. 7 minus 1 is 6. 11 minus 8 is 3. And check it out. This is bigger than that, which means this goes in one more time. So 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8. And 2 is 10. And I subtract. And now I get 9. And I'm going to bring down my last 9. And 27 goes into 99 3 times. And that's 81. And I subtract. And I get 18. Now, in Chapter 1, it's remainder 18. In the decimal chapter, we would put a decimal here and put a 0. In the fraction, and put our decimal here and keep dividing. In our fraction chapter, we would say 18 27ths, and we would reduce that to 2/3. 56 times 15, I'm going to start with this one's digit number. 5 times 6 is 30, carry the 3. 5 times 5 is 25, and 3 is 28. I'm done with my 5. I'm going to my next one. I'm going to put a placeholder in, very important. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5. I'm going to add the 2 together, 14, 8, and my answer is 840. Moving over to solving equations, we need to solve for x. We need to get rid of the things that are right next to our x. So right now I have a 14 that is subtracted from my variable, so I'm going to add 14 to make this 0. And these two cancel out, but I have to add 14 to this side as well. And when I do that, I end up with x equals 46. Here, I have a 27 added to my m. In order to make this 0, I'm going to subtract 27 from both sides. And that makes this 0. And I bring down my m and my equal sign. And here I've got a negative number problem, which granted you don't see until second chapter, but it's a good thing to have practice. When I've got a positive 15 and a negative 27, I need to subtract these numbers. The signs are different. I'm going to subtract. But I can't subtract them like this because when you subtract, you have to do big minus small. You have to. So, off to the side, I'm going to figure out what 27 minus 15 is. It's 12. So m equals 12, and the biggest one wins, negative 12. Now I've got this problem. I have braces, I have brackets, I have two sets of parentheses. I'm going to work the inside parentheses first. 9 minus 2 is 7. Bring this down, bring this down. And 12 plus 48 is 60. Now I'm done with the parentheses. I can leave them alone. I'm bringing down the brackets and the braces. This set of parentheses, 20 minus 11 is 9. Done with this set of parentheses, bringing down the brackets and the times 8 on the outside. Now I'm going to do this set. And I've got a division and a subtraction. So I'm going to do the division first. 60 divided by 6 is 10 minus 7, which is 3. I'm going to, done with the brackets, I'm going to bring down my braces. Times 8. Well, all I've got left in here is 9 times 3. This is 27. Done with the braces. Times 8. Now I've actually got to do some math. 27 times 8. 1621. 216 is my answer. And now on to chapter 2. So in chapter 2 we have the absolute value of some numbers. We have adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. We also have multiplying positive and negative numbers. Now understand that dividing and multiplying are the same idea, so I only did multiplication here, and then solving equations. We will also do order of operations. Now, when solving absolute value, remember this is the distance from 0. How far away is negative 4 from 0? It's 4 places. It's just the positive number of this. 3 is 3 places from 0. Negative 10 is 10 places from 0, but we're asking for the negative of 10. So this answer is actually negative 10. That negative on the outside helps us out. Now when we're adding and subtracting numbers, remember that if the signs are the same, we add, and if the signs are different, we subtract, and the biggest one wins. So, here we have two different signs. We have a positive 4 that we're combining with a negative 1. These signs are different because this is an imaginary positive. So we're going to subtract these two, and the biggest one wins. A negative 5 and a positive 6 that we're combining. Negative and a positive, different signs that we're going to subtract, and the biggest one wins. A negative 3 that we're combining with a negative 2. These are the same signs, so we're going to add these, and again, the biggest one wins. Over here, we're subtracting. We have a negative 2 we're combining with a negative 4. And negative 2, so the signs are the same. We're going to add them, and that gives us 8 with the biggest one winning. Here we have a negative 7 minus a negative 6. If we have a minus and negative right next to each other, we do this, dink, dink. So now we have a negative 7 that we're combining with a positive 6. Here the signs are different, so we're going to subtract, and the biggest one wins, so it's negative. Positive 5 minus negative 3 minus a negative is dink, dink, right next to each other like that. So now we have a positive 5 and a positive 3. And so they have the same sign. We're going to add them together, and we get 8, and the biggest one wins. It's positive. Now we're going to multiply. The rule here to remember is that you need to have an even number of negatives. 2 negatives will cancel themselves out, and you'll end up with a positive. But if you only have 1 negative in your question, you have 1 negative in your answer. It has to be an even number. So Here we have a positive times a negative. And that's going to give us a negative answer. Now we can go back and do the multiplication. So this we have to do in 2 steps. Here we have a negative times a negative. These two are going to cancel each other out. We've got our even number. Our answer is going to be positive, and you don't need to write that. And 2 times 6 is 16. Here we have a negative times a negative, and it looks a little different. But I need you to see this because I need you to see that this number looks different than negative 6 minus negative 4. This means that we're going to add or subtract these numbers, and that's not what's happening here. When you have the negative 4 with parentheses around it right up next to the 6, this means you're going to multiply. So negative 6 times negative 4, again, we've got two negatives, they're going to cancel each other out. We end up with a positive answer, and 6 times 4 is 24. Here I have a positive 5 and a negative 7, and we're multiplying them together. And a positive times a negative is going to give us a negative number, and 5 times 7 is 35. Here I have a negative number times a negative number. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 8 times 9 is 72. Here, and then solving equations. We will also do order of operations. And here we have our two negative number order of operations problems. Hit pause, work them out, and come back when you're done. Here are our quick answers. Stay tuned for more details. So here I have a problem that says multiply, multiply, multiply. So I'm going to multiply these numbers straight across. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21 times negative 2 times negative 5. Negative 21 times negative 2, a negative times a negative is a positive. 21 times 2 is 42 times negative 5. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative. My answer is negative, and I've got to figure out what 42 times 5 is, and it's negative 210. This problem asks us to multiply, to subtract, to find an exponent, and to subtract, and to multiply these two numbers. Well, I'm going to start here. Now, this 3 is on this 2. It's not negative 2 to the third, where I would say negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. It's not that. This 3 is just on this 2. So I'm going to say 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So I'm going to bring down my 8 and my negative sign. I'm going to do this multiplication. 12 times 3 is 36, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so I'm going to bring down my 36, minus, and I'm going to do this multiplication. Negative 9 times negative 10. 9 times 10 is 90, and negative times a negative is a positive. So I've got now 36 minus 8 minus 90. I have two subtraction problems, and I have to do them in order. So 36 minus 8 is 28 minus 90, and this is going to give me a negative number because I've got a positive number and a negative number. I've got to subtract, but I can't subtract them in this order because when you subtract, you have to do big minus small. So I have to figure out what 90 minus 28 is, and that's 62. So my answer is negative 62. Okay, on to chapter 3.